shape now.
I want to switch gears a little bit, continue our discussion about education, and say the kids are back in school and it's time for the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Well, now you can add a C for character education. Howard Ondick joined Senator Schwartz for a tour through a Pennsylvania school that is big on character.
Chapter 14 up, and then we will go over the questions.
Students in the Halifax Middle School are learning more than just their classroom lessons. Each school day, they learn how to build good character and values such as respect, caring, and responsibility.
We really do have a community here, a caring culture within our school.
Robert Hassinger is the Halifax Middle School principal.
Students do actually now have the courage to speak up and make right choices and hold one another accountable.
The hallway is filled with reminders of 5 guiding principles that form good character: destiny, humility, conscience, truth, and brother's keeper. Teachers and students agree character education is making a difference in Halifax.
The atmosphere has changed so much with the discipline of the students and the respect for each one of them as to the ages from the 6th grade level to the 8th grade. They have respect for each other.
I learned that you have to treat others the way you want to be treated and be nice to other people. Try not to do anything bad.
And because these students are doing so well, the Halifax Middle School was recognized in 2001 as a National School of Character.
One of the things I think we ought to do is, when something's working in one school, is to tell another school about it. I mean, that's
Senator Allyson Schwartz wants other schools to learn from Halifax. She's pushing a bill that encourages but does not mandate Pennsylvania schools to implement a character education program.
what I'm trying to do as the Democratic Chair of the Education Committee is to promote what we know works, the best practices, and help schools learn from each other. And I think the state has an obligation to promote what works, and character education is working to promote the right kind of values here in Halifax and could across the state.
Okay.
Since the program began over 6 years ago, there are fewer student fights and the school building is cleaner.
We have virtually no vandalism. We used to have a problem in the restrooms with students writing on walls and messing things up. Now, if students even write in the little cracks between the concrete, someone comes and lets me know, and we go and take care of it.
At the end of the school day, students from each grade are organized into discovery group teams to practice the keys to building a good character.
The activity that we're doing is showing leadership. It's called Nuclear Fence, and we step back as an instructor and see who emerges as our leader and how the team responds and cooperates in that situation.
And students are learning that developing leadership, courage, and trust are important.
I would say trust, because it teaches you that the people around you are learning the same thing and that you can trust them and be able to talk to them, and they're basically in the same situation that you are.
Senator Schwartz says it's a program that creates an atmosphere for learning.
In fact, they've seen less discipline problems, they've seen a cleaner school, they've seen students be respectful of each other rather than hard on each other, and they've seen them really work together as a real school community, and it's really enhanced learning and the success for the school. And so that's what I want to see in schools everywhere in Pennsylvania.
And Halifax students agree.
Yeah, I got better grades, got A's a lot this year. Last year I wasn't doing that good.
Yes, it's brought my grades up, and it's taught me to respect my teachers and everything.
And through character education, it's hoped these students will earn better grades and everyone's respect because they're better people. In Dauphin County, I'm Howard Ondick reporting.
Tell me what happened when you
I think what the children had to say was really quite interesting. We've all heard that phrase, every generation. Well, when I was in school, you know, we kind of learned those things at home, and the teachers weren't afraid to say, hey, sit down and behave.
Right.
And then we seem to have gotten away from that over the years. Now we seem to be getting back to it.
Well, it's important for us to be really clear with our children, and certainly within schools, to be clear with students about what kind of behavior is expected, and to articulate that. And I think what I've heard from principals and teachers, as well as the students, we heard from wonderful students being able to be very articulate about why this makes a difference, is to not, is to not shy away from saying this is the kind of attitude, this is the kind of school we want, and to be clear about this. And as we all know from relationships and groups, it doesn't just happen by chance. It happens by being very deliberate and saying within a school community, and I want each school to be able to do this if they want to. I'm not talking about a state mandate, but again, as I pointed out before, is that we ought to be sharing best practices, and the state, we ought to be saying this works, this matters. So instead of always reacting afterwards, saying, okay, now we're going to be harsher on discipline. We're going to really be tougher. We're going to lock more kids up. We're going to send more kids to disciplined schools. Well, we need to do some of that, but how much better would it be to be in a school and say that it matters whether you respect each other. It matters whether you trust adults or not and can turn to them. It matters whether you respect property or not, and that we're going to talk about that so that the consequences of everything from bullying to vandalism that we spend a lot of time figuring out how to clean up afterwards doesn't happen in schools where they're far clearer about this. And schools should be about reading, writing, and building character.
One of the things that I find interesting is you say that you don't want to mandate schools to do it. And that's a good thing, because when we do mandates, it usually costs money and the taxpayers end up paying more. But that doesn't seem that this would be a very expensive proposition. It's just more or less a change in the way we talk to kids in the classroom.
And every school's done it differently. I've been visiting a number of different schools. I was at a wonderful elementary school in Cheltenham, actually, that really talked about a peaceful kingdom, and it was really very appropriate to young children. And that they talked about, well, who do you turn to if you see a child doing something wrong? Do you laugh and shrug your shoulders and move on, or do you tell a teacher? If you see someone in trouble, is that your responsibility? How do you take personal responsibility? How do you take shared responsibility? These are things that are part of making a school community work, and they've also said that it's made a huge difference in helping individual children and helping the school community. And it doesn't cost very much. It's kind of an add-on. It takes a strong principal. It takes teachers, but the teachers themselves have also said it's changed some of the attitude between students and teachers, and it's also helped across grade level. It was really interesting in Halifax that they have said that some of the older students look out for the younger students have older students to turn to, not necessarily even a teacher might turn to an older student, and that whole atmosphere has really made a very big difference in the school.
Very briefly, why does it all matter?
Well, if we aren't educating our children well, if we aren't being fair in the way we collect our resources to do that, and then if we don't distribute it fairly, then we really have not served either our children well or the Commonwealth.
On that note, we'll wrap it up. Senator Allyson Schwartz, thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining us. Any questions or comments the Senator would like to hear from you, all you have to do is pick up the phone or drop her a line. All of that information appears next. Thanks for watching Senate Journal with your state Senator, Allyson Schwartz.